good morning, everybody. It's that time again, and I am here with Mayor Flynn. Hi, John.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Mayor Flynn.
How are we doing?
Well, we're doing great, and you and I, have a lot to talk about today, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's dig right into what is kind of really super important right now. You want to, on the election, to extend the 1%
Sure.
tax?
We're having an election on Tuesday, November 18, and it's to extend the 1% sales tax in Bella Vista. So it's for, the proposal's for $34 million. And it's to replace our existing bond, which is getting paid down pretty rapidly. And there's 6 different things that you vote yes or no on. The citizens will vote yes or no on. And the first one is $6.1 million to pay off the existing 2020 bonds. So you have to vote yes on that one for anything to occur. It's kind of like if you had a first mortgage on your house and you're going to refinance, pay off the first mortgage and have a new one.
Yeah.
You got to pay off the old one or they're not going to give you the new one, right?
Exactly.
So that's kind of how it works.
Yes.
So that's the first one of the 6. The second one is $5.1 million, and that's to pay off the revenue bonds that we took out just about a year ago. And the point of that is it's kind of like a loan consolidation where you just want to have one big loan. You don't want to have a bunch of different loans here and there. And actually, when we took that out, we thought we probably would pay it off when we did a new sales tax. But it's come up a little faster than we thought. And the reason that has happened is if you want to do an extension, you have to do it for the first one pays off. And at first they told me, oh, the 2020 bonds will pay off in fall. Well, when they first started, they were supposed to pay off in 2031. Then our city sales tax was a little too high, so they said, oh, it'll pay off in October 2027. And then they said, well, no, it'll pay off in March of 2027. And now they're saying, well, it looks like it could be faster than that even.
Yeah.
So we got to the point we had to have the election. The way the state does it now, there's only 2 days you can have the election, the day of the general election and the day of the primary. 2 days the whole year. You know, it used to be people would pick some obscure day in the middle of the summer or something. And they didn't like that, so that's why the state changed that rule. So we had very few choices left when to have it, so we had to hurry up and have it this November. So that's why it's happening when it is. Anyway, so the first 2 items are paying off existing debt. Third one is, and all these numbers are a little bit too high. They want you to give a number that's higher than what it'll actually cost. It's $8 million to complete the construction.
That's like the phase 3 and 4?
Yeah. Phase 3 is taking the old city hall and fixing it up for planning and development and for permitting.
Right.
So it's the exact same, well, it's a slightly larger footprint, but it's mainly the same footprint. They're making it a little bit bigger where you come in for your permit. And it's all just refurbishing that and making the roof so it'll match the rest of the roof. I always thought that personally, well, a lot of people thought this, I think, the roof line caused that whole area to look extremely poor, frankly. I'm a great believer in aesthetics.
Yes.
And when you see the new part, you realize, oh, well, yeah, it could look a lot better than it does. But anyway, so that whole project is fixing that office, and then they're fixing up the old bays, and they're adding 2 new bays, which are bigger and longer. And one of the things happening with the 2 new bays, there's a mezzanine, and it's going to have a medical office for the fire department's medical person, and it's going to have a place to store additional supplies, because with the ambulance business, it's kind of a big thing. You can run through supplies pretty quickly. We have almost 5,000 ambulance calls a year.
Really?
Yeah, so they run through a lot of supplies. And they're also having an area up there for weightlifting for the fire personnel. And so that whole project is $8 million. So that's a separate thing. You vote on each of these separately. So the first 2 are paying off bonds.
Yep.
The third thing is $8 million for that.
Yep.
The fourth thing is $6 million for a new fire station, number 5, and a pumper truck and 2 ambulance remounts. We always do ambulance remounts instead of getting new ambulances because it's more reasonable, but it's so expensive.
Yes.
It's pretty much like turning it into a new car virtually. I mean, it's got new engine, all new stuff in
Refurbished.
it and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, so the new fire station, that's kind of been in the fire chief's vision for a long time, and it would be in the south central area of the city. He has the whole city mapped out and figures out where, and mostly it's a matter of response time. You know, especially the way our roads are set up, as everyone knows, it's not the usual grid system.
Right.
And there's some areas where it might be up around 14, 15 minutes. And if you locate a fire station there, it's more like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So if there's a fire or an ambulance need, that makes a huge difference.
Sure does.
So that's why he's always looking to figure out where the next one should be. And so that's the fourth item. The fifth item is street improvements, and that's $6.1 million. And that's a couple years worth of paving of the streets. You know, with the way we're growing and people building the new area, it's going to be more of a challenge. We pave some streets and then new ones are added, and it's kind of hard to get ahead of the curve. And also some new equipment. There's several items in new equipment the street department's getting. A couple of them are replacements, and some of them are new because of the level of work they have. And then the last one is police improvements. That's a smaller one. It's $3 million, and $1.3 million of that is for the radio towers for communication. So it's really not strictly police. It's police and fire and streets, but
Gotcha.
you have to put it in some category. And the rest of it is police vehicles. We usually run our police vehicles for 110,000 or maybe 120,000 miles. And so we do kind of run through them on the patrol side. On the other side, where people might have a car, like a detective might have a car to drive, we find we can stretch it further than that because they're not ridden quite so high. You know,
Right.
A patrol car can be driven somewhat hard at times. So, but we're trying to get as many miles as we can out of those. So that was the whole list. And
Can we go back, though,
Sure.
and make sure that people understand? There are two things that I heard you say that we want to make sure that people know the facts. Okay, the first is this is not a new sales tax.
yeah,
It is simply an extension of one we already have.
yeah, it's not an increase in taxes right now. That's the first one that is very important. Right now, our city sales tax is 2%.
Right.
1% regular, and this extra 1% was for the bond. So this is still going to be an extra 1% for a bond. And I checked on the other areas. I found this interesting because Fayetteville and Rogers and Bentonville and Springdale, the big 4 cities in our area, they all are at 2%. So if this didn't pass, we'd be at 1% and they'd all be at 2%, which to me is very counterintuitive because most of us have probably done what I've done. You know, you drive around there
Yeah.
and they have a tremendous amount of business and therefore sales tax income compared to us.
Right.
I mean, it's a huge gap. So it's really not logical that we could get by with a lower rate than they have, since they have so much more. And, you know, one thing I realized after a while being mayor of Bella Vista and on city council, we are going to increase our sales tax, and we've been increasing it. That's why this bond's paying off faster. But we're never going to have sales tax like those places.
Right.
And the reason is the way Bella Vista was set up. There's so much territory that has to be R1, single-family residential. You couldn't make it commercial if you wanted to. So we'll never have the degree of commercial that these folks have. And that's okay, because we figured out a way to get along with what we have. And I think people love the quieter atmosphere and the nature and all the good things that come along with being an outdoor recreation community.
Right.
So
the other thing I wanted to emphasize, you said something when we started here about you have to really vote for the first thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so did I hear you say that each one of these is going to be a place to vote?
yeah, there's 6 different things, and you say yes or no on each one.
But
yeah.
what did you mean when you said you really have to vote for that or the rest don't count? What did you say?
Yeah, because the very first thing is 6.1 million. It's paying off the existing bond, and they're not going to give us the.
They're not going to give us a separate one. Yeah, exactly.
That's why I analogize to your home mortgage. You know, if you're refinancing, they're not going to do that unless you're getting rid of the old one, right?
Right.
So that's just a technicality, but I think it's confusing. You know, if you just go in and vote, that wouldn't be apparent to you. So that's something I need to mention to people, right?
So I believe you and the city council and any of the rest of us that can help are going to try to help educate the public on what that really means. Because come on, you go in there and it's all in this legalese and it's like, what?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you know, they try to make it sure. I've seen the ballot, and the first paragraph is, as so often the case, it is a little confusing. But then the individual things are pretty clear.
Yes.
They're shorter and to the point. And
yes.
So hopefully, we are going to try hard to educate people.
Okay.
So that'll
All right. We have a little bit of time before break, so let's jump right in, if you don't mind, to the Code Reform, Chapter 109, zoning. That's our new plan going forward.
Yeah, as you know, the Planning Commission passed that in Chapter 107 along to us on City Council.
Yep.
And we're working our way through it. It's the second reading in August, and there was a number of different amendments that are on tap, so to speak. One is small cell regulation, and that small cell is a thing that providers often use, and it's for towers that are 50 foot or less. And they are, under Arkansas state law, they have a lot of freedom in where they put them and all, but there's a little bit of regulation you can have, and a lot of them are by streets in the right-of-way and things like that. So we want to regulate it to the extent we can. We're not against people doing that if it makes the reception better. But we haven't had anybody do it yet in Bella Vista, but there's some people expressing interest in it. And so that's something we want to kind of keep our eye on.
Well, and you're ahead of the game there. You're thinking ahead to what could happen.
The second one has to do with trees. You know, the tree, a couple of years ago, we made tree requirements for builders because people were upset about the land being clear cut. And the requirement for if you're on sewer was more strict. It's that you have to leave 25% of the ground area with all trees intact. And the septic was much lighter because of, problems with you can't have trees where the septic lines are, and some of the lots aren't that big.
Right.
So as you know, the Planning Commission wanted to make the septic requirement a little bit more strict. And that's what they put in. And at least one of our councilmen didn't like that. So now we have a possible amendment where we would knock that back out. The current requirement for septic is that you have to have 2 trees in the front yard. And this requirement, I believe, is something like you have to have trees on 10% of the property. They're concerned about maybe leaving some in the side yard or in the far back beyond the septic lines, that kind of thing. Right. So they're trying to preserve trees where they could.
Yes.
And generally speaking, people, the citizens, are in favor of that, and the builders are not. It's a short summary, because they just think, oh, that's one more thing I have to keep track of, and it's challenging. But we've had so much residential building, and it upsets people to see some of the woods and trees and wildlife go away. But so often it's inevitable. I mean, you have a lot, and there's a bunch of trees right in the middle where the house has to go.
Yes,
I mean, even if you're the biggest tree lover in the world, if you're going to build a house there, you're going to have to take a bunch of them out, right?
That's right.
So,
well, let's hold that thought. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back, and we'll continue with the rest of what's in that code reform that you're looking at.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hey there, we're back. And let's continue our talk on the code reform and some things that are coming up. I think the next thing, which has always been weird to me, why you would ever want front yard electrical panels in the first place. But how's that going to fix that?
Yeah, on this new construction, you know, they have fairly large electrical panels, and one of the amendments we had was to make a rule that they have to be in the side or backyard, meaning it would be beyond the front plane of the house. And we met with the electric utility about that before the meeting, and they were very cooperative about it. I want to give them credit, Carroll Electric. And so that looks like an amendment that's going to go forward. Yeah, it's mostly an aesthetic thing. I think people like it better if it's not out front.
Yes.
So.
Okay, and then what about the clarifying sewer installation? What does that mean?
Yeah, well, apparently the Planning Commission took that out and wanted to refer to it by reference. And
yes.
Apparently our city attorney didn't like that in particular. And so we have an amendment to actually have printed out what the sewer installation
as part of the
requirements
code.
are.
Yeah. It just seemed weird that, you know, here's the link.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
So it's village wastewater, you know, it links up with them, and that's the story on that.
Okay.
And the new zoning map, I think that was mostly cleaning up errors, and they found a few little things here and there on the zoning map, so it's slightly different than it was, but it wasn't substantive. It's mainly just things that were done by mistake, and some lot lines had changed and weren't caught, that kind of thing.
So then what I think I hear you say is, now, this will be the second reading. Will this be the second reading with these amendments, or is this going to slow this down for another month or two?
Well, they're going to actually consider all these amendments at the second reading, so they could pass them or fail them. They could go ahead and pass the whole thing in whatever the final form is, but I think there does make it a little more of a tendency to go to the third reading, you know, because there's so many last minute things. So, and that was my... You know, I don't see why you couldn't consider the amendments and go ahead on second reading, but I'm not so sure if they're going to do that or not. We'll see what happens.
Well, we do need this code reform. We've been working on it now forever, and it's going to make everybody's life better. It's going to make all your planning staff, the builders. This is a good thing, right? Because we're no longer modeled after 27 other different cities. This is Bella Vista.
Yeah, I've had different little things come up where, you know, people say, oh, it would be better if we had this new code in place, but it's not going to be in place in quite enough, you know, it's going to be a couple months yet, so they'll just have to live with whatever it is until it gets passed.
That's right. Okay, so this is kind of fun. Trails open 24/7. What does that mean? Hard surface.
Yeah, in the case that this was a result of us being in a member of the Razorback Greenway Alliance. It's a very prestigious club. There's only 7 cities that are on the Razorback Greenway, and it's the 4 big cities, and Johnson and Lowell and Bella Vista. So it's a club people are happy to be in. But they made certain agreements on how they were going to do things, and one of those things is that the Razorback Greenway would always be open. And we had an existing law having to do with trails, which I think we were thinking mostly of the soft surface ones at the time, you know, where you can't go on them at certain hours, just like you do with a park. You know, you can't go on in the middle of the night and things like that. So they want the Greenway to be, because it's kind of a transportation mode, they want it to be able to be open all the time. So it's just those major Greenway.
Hard surface. Gotcha.
Hard surface.
Because a lot of people, like you said earlier, a lot of people actually ride to work on their cycle and at 5 in the morning. So
they're trying to encourage more and more people to do that.
Right.
So,
Right. Okay. Let's see. Library shelving.
Yeah, that's just $20,000 for some additional shelving, and it was only before City Council because that's not enough money to go to council. it was only on there because she's using impact fees, which is a good thing. When you get impact fees, you have to spend them in 7 years.
Yes.
So the library still has about 70,000 or more. So, but when she was explaining at the meeting, this particular shelving has to do with the teen level.
Oh, yeah.
Teenager level, young adult, and it's really encouraging to us the way that area's been growing for them. She's quoting some of the numbers of how many books were checked out, and it's way greater than you'd think.
Good.
Yeah, and growing. So, we knew the very young children were growing, but it's nice to see that stage growing as well.
That's right.
So.
Business licensing. Let's talk about business licensing.
Yeah, that's something that was brought up. In particular, the planning department and fire department thought that this was important. It's mainly people, if people have a business, that they register, and that way the city knows where they are and what they're doing, that kind of thing. The danger is you'll have somebody start a business, you don't know about it, and maybe it's against the zoning in that area. And it'd be better to get that straightened out with them out front than to wait till they've been going a few months. So that's what the thinking is. And all the big cities around us have business license. In fact, we've found people move here from out of town, and they call about starting a business and ask if you need a business license, and they're surprised when you don't.
Yes.
You don't? Really? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So obviously it's become a commonplace thing, but we don't want to charge people a lot. We don't want to give them a big hassle about it. We want to make it easy for people to start businesses, but we just want to make sure we're all organized and know what's what.
Well, we're getting short on time, so would you look through your little list there, and let's pick out some things that we want to be sure we cover.
Well, one of the things that frankly got the most excitement was there was a proposal by one of the council people to have partisan elections in Bella Vista. And that's been on the books for a number of years, that cities can choose to do that. Almost no one has. And, it's funny, as mayor, you'll be working with all these different issues, and most of them are pretty quiet and nobody says much. And every once in a while you hit one where there's a big response. And there was a big response to this, mostly negative. People are concerned about, they said, oh, Bella Vista is so nice, and I hate to have all that partisan rancor like they have on the federal level, come to us. So
right.
I suppose it exists to an extent anywhere, but...
but we are nonpartisan and always have been.
Yeah. So it's funny, a lot of people don't really think about it. I'll tell them the local elections, there's no parties and you just run in the fall, and they'll say, oh really, no parties, And I even had one lady who's a friend of mine and pretty darn intelligent, actually. I saw her one day, she just voted in the primary, and she said, oh yeah, I voted for you. And of course, my name was not on there.
Yeah.
So I knew that wasn't, but I appreciated the thought. There's a bunch of different things on there. I guess she just figured she'd voted for me.
Well, absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right. So what else here we got? We got a few minutes. What's the Revive the Public Safety Committee? What does that mean?
Oh, that's something that some folks in City Council brought up. We used to have a public safety committee. They worked with the police and fire. And it kind of went away right around early in Peter Christie's term, actually, first term. And I'm not sure it's needed incredibly, but people thought, well, it might be a nice thing to have. And I have found that some of these outside committees, people enjoy participating and being a part of things, and so there's kind of a plus to it that way. We always get plenty of people apply for the different, we're getting to have a little bit of a proliferation with different committees, but you always have people interested in being a part of it,
sure.
which is a good thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
You said you had a couple of extra things you added. Are they like in something we need to let everybody know? Oh, your open house. Can we talk about your open house?
Yeah, this kind of well, I guess it does and it doesn't. I was going to say it kind of ties in with the bond, but it actually stands on its own. Yeah, we're going to have an open house at City Hall on Friday, September 5, from 2 to 4 p.m. Well, it's really fire station number 1
right.
and city offices and everything, but people can tour the new city offices and the fire department offices are above us, and then the fire living quarters, which probably are the most impressive of the three, actually. But their living quarters, one thing that makes them so impressive is their living quarters were so bad.
Oh, they were awful.
And
yeah.
then when you fix it up, you think, wow, this is really nice. But, you know, the way they work, 4 to 8 hours on and 96 off, I mean, you need a good place to hang out if you're going to be on 48 hours and,
Yes.
you know, getting called in the middle of the night and all that. So,
Yes, yes.
So
now let's, one more time, it's September what?
Friday, September 5.
And
it's
from
2 to 4 p.m.
Just
Yeah.
drop in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a drop-in type thing,
Okay.
yeah.
People like that.
Yeah.
That's important.
And I just found out recently Wishing Springs is having their 50-year celebration. Mm-hmm. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. And it's at 10 a.m. It's on the same day. It's also on September 5. So you're probably wondering what you're going to do that day. You could go to Wishing Springs and then in the afternoon come over and see the new construction. But we're anxious to show the taxpayers, you know, kind of show how their money was spent.
Totally.
And bring them in the loop, so to speak.
Well,
yeah.
it sure looks much more impressive from the outside. You know, I'm kind of proud to drive by and see the big sign and all of that. So, yeah.
So
What else we got? We have just a few minutes left, and I want to make sure we cover everything you need to cover.
Oh, I did want to mention we are going to have I haven't even told you this yet.
Uh-oh.
We are going to have the work sessions in the courtroom.
Oh, good.
Again.
Good.
And the reason is we have a new recording system, and it's much, you know, we have to record the meetings in an audio fashion and keep it for a year.
Right.
Now we have the television station take the meetings, and that's kind of serving as a backup in case something goes wrong.
Right.
But we have a new system in the court where she just presses she used to use a little recording device.
Yes.
And it looks like a little transistor ray. It made me a little nervous because, you know, we're supposed to keep those for a year. Are you sure that thing's working? But we have a new recording system in the courtroom. And,
Audio only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a big improvement. So, you know, the Planning Commission already was having their work sessions.
We do,
And the
yeah.
real meetings in the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go ahead, and we've done that sometimes in the past, but I think because of this change, we're going to go ahead and have the work sessions in there too. I think sometimes it's hard for people to see or to hear people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the work session, so that's one of the advantages of the courtroom is the microphones and all that. But this recording system kind of pushed it over the edge.
Well,
So-
and I think the reason you even changed it before was you could in a work session that you had people being able to look at each other instead of being all in a line and
Yeah.
not, you know. So there's
Yeah.
always pluses and minuses. What else we got?
Yeah.
Anything else?
So, I did want to mention, just happened yesterday, actually, August 19, our audit was finalized, and we got a clean bill of health. You know, it's a little different this year. It's the first time we did an audit under GAAP,
Yep.
General Accepted Accounting Principles.
You're talking to an accountant here.
Yeah.
I speak your language.
Yeah, and it was a tremendous amount of work because of the first year. They had to do things like value all the roads.
Wow.
Which was a huge challenge. So I think the director of finance's popularity went down because she was going to all the department heads and bothering them with all this extra work.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think it's a good thing. It's certainly a more thorough audit. And I was duly impressed how much more work it was when I saw the final product. I'll tell you, it's very sophisticated. And you know, from now on, I'm sure we'll do it that way. But it's one of those things that's harder the first year.
time, yeah.
Because then you just have to worry about whatever you added or whatever. So
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we could talk forever because there's always good stuff to talk about. But let's remind everybody when the city council meeting is so they can either watch or come to it.
Yeah, because what we were talking about was the work session that it just occurred a couple days ago.
Right.
So the meeting is Monday night, and it's at 6 p.m.
This coming Monday, which is
that would
August
be 25th, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, August 25, and it'll be at 6 p.m. in the courtroom.
Okay.
So there's a lot of interesting things on there.
And one more time, I'd like to brag a little bit on the, it's been a few months now that you had your new website, but I tell you what, it's so much easier to find things. It's a really nice website. And so folks out there, what I'm saying to you is, if you have a question, try to go to the website. You can get John's number there too, and you can call
Yeah,
him.
I believe it's bellavistaar.gov.
Yes.
And the AR is for Arkansas, of course.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, try to get some facts before you make up your mind. You know, jumping to conclusions is a very dangerous exercise.
Yeah, and there'll be things on there. There's a lot of things on the website, but there'll be things on there about the election on November 18, that sort of thing. So,
Okay. So we're out of time, but I look forward to next month already.
Okay.
We'll see you
Thank
then.
You. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you.